Hello and welcome back to LTC Heroes Live by Experience Care. My name is Peter Murphy Lewis. I'm your host. Uh, I'm talking to a special person today because I have some background information on this interview that she's not ready for. I'm talking to Liz Borer. She's the Chief Nursing Officer at Millennial Healthcare Services. Liz, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Liz, I'm going to start from the top because I had someone say that you are the smartest person in long-term care and that we have to download her brain. How
Ooh,
does that make you feel when you hear those words?
that makes me feel super proud for sure. I think we try every day to make an impact on what we do and, allow our vulnerability to make that connection. So it makes me feel amazed.
Tell me, tell me why they call you the COVID queen. What what what
Ooh.
what went into your mind, your body, your operations when COVID came in that you had to step up?
Well, again, I stand on the shoulders of giants every day, and a little kick, swift kick at that time. Pre COVID, right before that, and I think that that drive to be able to do that research and support the teams that were the unknown, right? So I think that that dedication, that day to day of the unknown, especially in our industry, was very frightening. And I think that staying focused on everything that was being put out from the CDC to the World Health Organization was just something that I was tasked with, embraced, and it was a pretty long time that we went through that.
Tell me a little bit about your organization. What are the challenges that you faced in the last year, and what are you looking forward to focusing on in the next year?
Okay. So, in my current organization, some of the challenges have been staffing. I think that we're in a good place now. We're very competitive with our wages. The corporate culture that we want to embrace is that employee engagement and our operators to support such employee engagement. I think that that really starts to shift the culture of an organization. So some of the barriers that we've had was staffing initially, but then once we were able to embrace those things, we're in a really good position today to give the best care.
In your background, it's not every day I speak to someone who got into long-term care in the way you did. Tell me a little bit about why you got into long-term care, not acute care, how you became a nurse.
Okay. I joined the Navy when I was 18 years old. Nursing became something that I, was not premeditated, pre-planned. Loved it. When I was discharged back to Florida, went into became an LPN, and then went into long-term care. Really, while I was going through RN school, loved it. Worked the night shift. Was like a family in the night, so I always have this spot within me when I'm working with or educating night shift nurses. As recent as this past Saturday. Um, so through that, when I became an RN, they asked me to be the clinical educator. Did it for a little bit, and it just absolutely resonated. I fell in love with the geriatric population, and I couldn't see myself doing anything any different.
I I ask this question in many different ways to the people I interview. And you mentioned you love working with the geriatric population. What have you learned about yourself from working with this population?
I've learned that through the years, I've had other leaders tell me that it's pretty lonely at the top. I have to disagree in many, many ways because I feel like when you place yourself in a position where you're working with other nurses, it's not about the ranking or the chain of command at that point. It's nursing staff caring for nursing staff. So it's all of us together. And I think that for myself, I've learned that I tried to continue to resonate that in my head from what that person told me, and battled that for years. And then finally it just gave in and said, I am who I am. I'm a pretty passionate leader. There's been some that have said that sometimes emotion could be a bad thing. Emotion is projected, and you want to be able to believe in the person to the left and to the right of you. So I think that when your staff, when I was a director of nursing, they believed in me, they would walk through fire for me. And I try to communicate that with all of my young leaders of today so that they understand it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to make that connection. It's okay to be that. You don't have to be with an iron fist and lead in that way, because that's how we change the world. So
Powerful,
yeah.
powerful. Uh, Liz, I want to ask you about your leadership style, but the way that I'm going to phrase it is if I ask 3 or 4 of your peers at work or 3 or 4 of your direct reports, how would they describe you? If they had to agree upon one word, one adjective, what would they all agree upon?
Passionate.
Hmm. Hmm. Where did you get the passion from? Is there someone in your life, a mentor, a family member? Were you born with it?
I think that it was something I was born with. I think I have that empathetic type of sometimes, yesterday we had a pretty impactful day at the conference and we had a wonderful motivational speaker and it was very, very impactful for me.
I didn't get to go. What did you take away?
Yeah, my takeaway was again the same thing. I mean, to be vulnerable, to have that connection. You have, youth that are struggling with different comorbidities and challenges and cancer and striving through that. And one of the examples that he used was a child that had a glioblastoma of sorts, or no, a bone cancer that had metastasized. She was given a prosthetic and then actually became a nurse to give back when she was an adult. So, I mean, just the tears rolling. And I think that it's some pretty amazing stuff that we do. And when we start to let go of all the nonsense and really, you know, lean on one another from organization to organization. There's many organizations here and you don't have to recreate the wheel. You can share those types of best practices. And that's why I love Florida Healthcare, Senior Clinicians Council, FDANA, everyone that we can be involved with because when you succeed, we succeed. We are all in the same business. So it shouldn't be we did better than they did. It should be let's help each other get better. So
Love it. Liz, as we wrap up, my last question for you is uh, this week at Florida Healthcare Association, the convention has a theme around Western country songs. Who's a friend that you wanted to run up to and give a big country Western hug or do a two-step dance with that you haven't seen in a year?
oh, there were so many beautiful faces. I think that one that really, Mr. Devin Eichelman, who was my executive director when I became a director of nursing, I think seeing his smiling face and giving him a big Western hug was wonderful.
Love it. Liz,
Yep.
thank you so much for joining me on LTC Heroes. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.